that I learned actually from a tribe out in the middle of Ecuador. And several years ago, got a chance to go with some of our staff members from Acquire the Fire and Team Mania to the middle of the jungle in Ecuador. And in Ecuador, many years ago in the 1950s, there were 5 missionaries that went to this jungle tribe. And as soon as they flew out, these 5 guys flew out in a little plane and they landed on a little, it was a beach along a river. They were able to put the plane down. And as soon as they landed, they were attacked by this tribe and they were killed. And there was real famous Jim Elliott and Nate Saint and all these guys were famous guys now. They weren't famous then, gave their life for the gospel. Well, check this out. It turns out that
where they got killed.
Their wives and families, many of them, stayed in the jungle, even though their husbands had been killed, to reach this tribe for Christ. Isn't that beautiful? And they stayed with their small children. And the reason I'm telling you this is years later, I got to go out with one of the children that had grown up in the tribe. Now he's an adult. And meet some of these very guys that killed these missionaries. Okay, so we're out there in the jungle, and it was really cool. We met some of the guys. They're real old now. They're still alive. That killed these missionaries, and now they're Christians. And we're staying there for several days, and they actually made each of us a gift. They made each of us a spear. The same exact spear that they killed the missionaries with. They made one for us, and they gave it to us. And we were laying there in our hammocks sleeping at night going, man, we're so glad they're Christians now. And it's the same kind of spear that they would hunt with, right? And we got to go hunting with them, actually, because they hunt for their food. And they use blow dart guns, and they hit a monkey or something, the tree comes down, and it doesn't kill the monkey, it just paralyzes them, and when the monkey falls, then he dies. And then they eat him. And so you can see I'm out there in the jungle, and we're hopping on plant stuff and whatever, and with them. Now, one of the things that we learned from these guys, it was when Mincaye, he's the guy on the far left there. He's the one that made my spear. He's like the chief of the tribe. He was one of the guys that killed the missionaries. So when he got a chance to come to the United States one time, the first time he came, now imagine, he's never been out of the jungle. He doesn't even speak Spanish, right? In Ecuador, they speak Spanish, but not in the jungle tribes. So he comes to the States, and he has a challenge because he doesn't understand anything. Like the first time he gets into an elevator, it freaks him out. But why are we in this small room? And he closes the door, and it opens back up. What happened? Where are we? This is a magic box. He couldn't figure it out. And Mincaye has all kinds of funny stories of things that happened when he first came to the States, like when he's in the TSA line at the airport, and he's with Nate Saint, one of the children that grew up, whose father had died, and they were in the TSA line, and Nate had gone, or Steve and Saint had gone in front of him, and Mincaye is behind him, and he doesn't understand anything they're saying to him. And so they keep pointing to his belt, and he's like, they can't, and so all of a sudden Steve looks back, and Mincaye's pants are down to his, knees. He's still in his underwear, but they're like, he doesn't understand, and lots of cultural comedy going on there. And so anyways, the blow dart gun looked a lot like this one right here. We wanted to see if we could demonstrate it here for a moment. I need a guy with big lungs, like, you know how to breathe, right? You got some guy with big lungs, and you're not afraid to use your lungs, okay? I need a guy that's got a lot of air, right? Big air. Who's got a lot of air? I don't see anybody. This is hard. This is hard. Anybody over here? Any guy over here? Somebody? Okay, why don't you come? Right here. Yeah, come on. Yeah, come over. Yeah. And now I need and this is don't try this at home. Come on up. And what is your name?
It's not me.
I'm sorry? Julio, come here, Julio. And so, now you have big lungs, right? You know how to breathe good? Good. Sweet. Now, So here we go. We're going to have you demonstrate this. Okay, so here's the blow dart. We're going to put it in this gun right here. Now see, come over here. See those balloons right there? Come over here. We're going to see how good at aim you are.
The balloon.
Okay, now remember that there's no poison on the tip of this, but don't be aiming it anyways, okay? And even if you did hit somebody, it wouldn't hurt them because it would only paralyze them and then they come back, you know. Okay, so now hold this, Julio. Now what you got to do is you got to aim it with this hand. Now you got to put your mouth completely around there. Don't let any air come out. You got to, before you put your, don't inhale. Inhale before you put it there, okay? Otherwise you're going to, you know. So inhale as much as air, and then all at once you got to and aim it and see. Wow! Come on, give me some air, man. That's awesome, man. All right. Give it a big hand clap for Julio. That's awesome, man. Julio, if I go to the jungle, I'm going with you, man, because you will be able to make sure we have monkeys to eat. Man. So check this out. One of the things I learned from Ming Kaye when he came to the States was this. He was really freaked out because drive by a football stadium on a Friday night and the crowd's cheering and all this, you know, high school football and Ming Kaye said, "What's going on? What's happening? Why are they so angry? Why are they so loud?" And Steve would say to him, "Oh, they're just cheering for their team." "But why? What's happening?" Because, well, they're throwing this ball back and forth, and Ming Kaye is trying to understand, but what happens to the one who loses? Do they die? And he says, no, they just win. They win a game. He goes, "Yeah, but why are they so passionate about it if no one dies?" And he couldn't understand it. And he goes, and Steve is trying to explain, it's a game, it's a ball, it goes back and forth. And then Ming Kaye goes, "Oh, it's onoke." And Steve says, "What do you mean, onoke? I've never heard that word." It's onoke. It's a word they use that means has no purpose. So watch this. They walk through a mall, and there's a video game arcade, and people are doing this, and they're jumping up and down, and they're screaming real loud. And Ming Kaye's like, "What's happening? What's going on?" He goes, "Oh, it's a game." "Oh no, but why are they so passionate? Why are they screaming? Why are they banging?" He goes, "Well, they're trying to get scored." And he goes, "Oh, it's onoke, for no purpose." And then they're watching like a television. He'd never seen a television before, and he sees somebody get blown up, and he goes, "Oh, it's so sad, you know." And then they turn the channel, and there's the same actor. "What happened?" And he goes, "Oh, it's onoke. It's pretend." Then they turn to a news station and they see something get blown up, and Ming Kaye says, "Onoke," and Steve goes, "No, that one's real." So this concept of onoke, things that are not as they seem, things are really that you get excited about for no reason or for no purpose. And it seems as though our world in America, we're so used to onoke, we don't even realize we're surrounded with it. We go from one piece of onoke to another, to another, to another. It might be a television program, might be a movie, might be a video game. Fake. And so often, even when we get online and we've got all of our friends out there, it's onoke, it's fake stuff, it's interactivity. Sometimes, I mean, there's a lot of activity, a lot of entertainment is a form of onoke. It's a form of, there really is no reason for it. We're just doing it. Some people have so submerged themselves in fakeness, they're doing stuff, but it's one onoke to another piece, to another piece, to another piece. Now there's some lessons and great moments you can get from a movie or something that inspires you or informs you or lifts you, and that's great. But what I'm speaking to this morning is, here we are called to change the world. If we're surrounded with fake things, how can we do something that's real? If we're distracted by the faux or the fake or the onoke, things that have no purpose, how can we do something that lasts for eternity? And I want to just mention this, taken to the extreme, you have examples like this guy in Colorado several months ago. You remember on the premiere of the Batman movie? He goes in at midnight and he shoots up the place. And the police, he didn't even try to run. The police caught him outside. And when they asked him his name, he said, "I am the Joker." He didn't even say his name. He's so submerged in this fake world of Onoke. And if you guys are into computer and video games, you'll know what I'm talking about, this whole fake universe you create. He was so submerged, and this is a smart guy. He was actually studying his doctorate in neurobiology, like how the brain works. He wouldn't even say his real name. He said, "I am the Joker." He assimilated himself into a fake world. So many of us, instead of living our real lives, we live a fake life with an alternative universe. So if we're on a quest to live for Christ, this morning I just wonder if we might just take a page out of Paul, the Apostle's life. How many of you guys have heard of Paul, the Apostle? Yeah. And see how he lived his life instead of going from one piece of Onoke to another. How do you know if you've got a real friend or if it's not a real friend? And if you look in Scripture this morning, you will see that Paul had three different kinds, three different dimensions, three different levels of friendship. And I just want, and kinds of relationship, because we as humans, we're wired for relationship. And it's so easy to be connected with a piece of technology and you're just having a fake life. But, data has shown the more time you spend on the internet, the more lonely you are. We get a lot of lonely people going to church every Sunday, going to youth group. And they wonder why they fall, and then they fall, and they get further and further away from Christ. It's easy to have a relationship with a piece of technology, because if you don't like that technology anymore, you just hit it, or you block that person, or you just, you bang on it. But having real relationships is part of what life is about. We're wired for community. And Paul showed us how. He had three different levels of friendship. We're going to examine them for just a few moments here this morning. Paul had a Barnabas in his life, he had a Silas in his life, and he had a Timothy in his life. He had a Barnabas, he had Silas, and he had Timothy. Three different people, but three different types of relationships. Let's talk about Barnabas for just a second. Let me tell you about Barnabas. You see in Acts chapter 9, verse 27 is when Barnabas first met Paul. Remember, Paul was the guy killing Christians, and then he meets Jesus, and now all the Christians are afraid of him. They don't think he's really met him. They think it's just pretend so that he can get close to them and kill him. And so Barnabas, you see in Acts chapter 9, verse 27, reaches out to Paul. He says, "Hey, come with me." And he actually takes him with him. He says, "Come with me, I'm going to introduce you, and let me show you the ropes. Let me show you how this thing works, this thing called Christianity." Barnabas was a mentor. Barnabas was somebody, how would you like to think of somebody who's mentoring the Apostle Paul, right? That's Barnabas. And all of us need a Barnabas in our life. You can see, he took him and he brought him to the disciples. He said, "No, you can trust me, you can trust him." And then he taught Paul how to live as a follower of Christ. So, my question first this morning is, who are your Barnabases? Who are your mentors in your life? You say, "Well, do I even have one?" Mentors aren't, you have potential mentors, like your youth pastor could be a mentor. You may not tap into them. Just because you go on Wednesdays or Sundays or Thursdays or Fridays, wherever you go, doesn't mean they're your mentor. Because a mentor is somebody that you learn from, you ask questions from. Teach me how to live this life. Teach me how to overcome this sin. Show me how to understand the Bible, this area or that area. A mentor is somebody like you're digging for gold all the time. They're full of gold and you're digging it out from them. You're asking them questions. That's how you dig. That's what a mentor is. What a shame to have a youth pastor or youth leader around you all the time and they're full of gold and you don't get any of it because you don't ask a question. Now, I'm not talking about the stupid questions like, "Are we there yet?" I'm talking about, listen, I guarantee you, your youth pastor will never get tired or get sick of you asking questions about God or about Scripture or about how to live a certain way or how to overcome a sin. They will never get tired of you asking that. Mentors could be people like your senior pastor. How cool would it be? Now you have to be careful because sometimes people say, I just want to spend time with you, and you want to be their friend. Listen, a mentor is not necessarily like a friend. They're not on your same level. That's a Silas. A mentor, you're respecting their time. So you don't go to your pastor and say, tell me the most important thing about being a Christian. Because if you're listening to his sermons, you're hearing that. So you're asking questions that go even deeper. If your mentor has written a book or a Bible study, you've already devoured that. Don't ask them a question that you could learn about from a book or something they've written or something they've preached. You want to go deeper. Why? Because you're a follower of Christ. You're searching it out. You're like a bloodhound, man. You want to learn. And so you don't just take up their time saying, hey, let's go get coffee. You respect them and you go, okay, I want to learn from you. Your parents could be a mentor. Your coach could be a mentor. Your principal, your teacher could be a mentor. Who's a Barnabas in your life? Who have you given authority? Said, speak into my life. I want to learn. I want to grow. We all need Barnabases in our life. Most of my mentors are dead. They mentor me through their books. I read. But I have other mentors that are alive. I hound them with questions, and I think deeply about the questions before I get to them. Who is your Barnabas? We all need a Barnabas. We all need Silases. We all need a Timothy. So, number one, you want to keep your fire. You want to learn. You want to grow stronger. You don't want to fall away. You got to get a Barnabas, at least one, that you give them permission. Get in my face. Help me to grow. Keep me on the right path. And don't get all offended when they get in your face, because you gave them permission to get in your face, right? Let's all practice. Look at somebody and say, get in my face.
Get in my face.
You really are.
See, it's not so hard.
You really are.
Okay. The second kind of friend, second kind of relationship, we need a Barnabas, we need Silas. Now, Silas is like a homeboy, right? This is like somebody who's Paul's hanging out with. I mean, they did stuff together, they had fun together, they preached together, they got thrown in jail together. They were actually the original bad boys. And that's right, they got in trouble for God all the time. Now I'm not saying go do graffiti for God and get in trouble. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that these guys weren't afraid. Their idea of fun was kind of different than ours. Let's get whipped. We might get whipped today when we preach in that city. Cool, let's do it. And but be careful, because when you're developing Paul Silas kind of relationships, you get the question of friend or foe. Do I really know them? How many of you ever thought you knew somebody and then you learned something about them? You go, whoa! I guess I didn't know them after all. Let me see your hand at that. So when you're developing a Silas relationship, you got to be careful to really get to know them, or could it end up looking a lot like these guys?
So crazy, oh so crazy. Holy, you're crawling under my skin. That sounds disgusting, but he means it as a compliment. I'm gonna shout your name out to the heavens, right up to the pearly gates, y'all. My eternal Valentine, Cheryl. That's my older sister's name. She's got the most voluminous brown hair, just like my sister does. And that sexy, distinctive snaggle too, that gets snagged onto my heart. Wait, Eric, this is news to me. Oh yeah, kind of like the Knicks losing the playoffs.
Oh! The Nets losing the
can show, I'll tell you all I know. You gotta let me know. Tell me in the chorus, go. Your sister is my baby. I just threw up a little in my mouth. Your sister is my little baby. Come to think of it, I do see you a lot at the house. Cheryl, 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 Cheryl. Won't you share your heart with me? How long have these shenanigans been going on? A month or three. Yeah, you heard me. Eric Stable, how could you do this to me? How could I not when your sister's so hot? She's on fire. Higher, fire, higher. Fire. It's better, but I still don't like you. When I took her to the Cirque du Soleil, she made my head flip. Honestly, I thought you were gay. Well, I'm not. Yeah, I know. I just found out the hard way. That's what she said. Now's not the time for joking. The time joking is now, yeah. Oh, my sister is your stinking baby. She likes long walks into my arms. My sister is your stinking baby. Hey, I know her favorite cereal. What is it? Lucky Charms. Cheryl. 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 Won't you share your charms with me? Girl, you're the pot of gold at the end of my rainbow. Our first date was at Applebee's. Oh, come on, please. It's the bee's knees. Who uses that phrase anymore? It was chill, man, when I bought her more of that $8.99 surfing turf, I called her my little Papa Smurf. She's got a red hat, right? No, it's 'cause she's all that. Your sister is my baby. This is too gross for me to comprehend. Your sister is my little baby. We're supposed to be super friends. Cheryl, 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 Cheryl. Won't you share your surfing turf with me? Last night, I sent an email to your dad. He still has a Hotmail account. Asking for your sister's hand. What do you need with a hand? A hand in marriage, on a carriage, we'll ride into the sun. Our eyes locked in love, and the angels above will sing about Cheryl and John. What does that mean for us? What does that mean for us? I know. Brothers-in-law, friends-in-law, brothers-in-law, friends-in-law, brothers-in-law, friends-in-law, brothers-in-law, friends-in-law. She's mine. Fine.
So I'm your Silas friend. You gotta figure out how you really get to know them. Now, see, Paul and Silas, they were like equally yoked. And your Silas friend is somebody that you have hard conversations with. You don't get offended when they say, hey, you know what? You got a little lettuce on your cheek right there. Because when you have a little lettuce on your cheek, don't you want a friend to say, hey,
Yep.
you know, little mustard, get it off, you know? And it might be worse than lettuce. It might be part of your character, part of an attitude. Hey, why are you talking like that? Why are you acting like that? See, because a Silas friend, you invite them to get in your face, you know, and say, come on, let's get in each other's face. That you're committed, even through hard times. You know, it says a brother, scripture says in Proverbs, a brother is born for adversity. Like when you're going through a hard time, that's when you need a Silas, a Paul-Silas friendship. You push each other going forward towards Christ. Push each other towards Jesus. And, you know, too many of us are surrounded by fake people. We have hundreds of friends in the Facebook world, but no, like real Silases. We're around crowds at school. around crowds at church, we have no real Silases. Or even worse, I think we do this, we go, we have our school friends and we have our church friends. And our church friends, they're just churchy, you know, but my school friends are my real friends. That I can really be myself. Really, we need a Silas, because the real you is the person that wants to love God and follow Christ and seek Him with all your heart. And you need to find a Silas that will help you become more of the real person that you are and that you want to be. Silases. Do you have a Silas in your life? Have you invited Silas? You know how sad it is that even in a crowd like this, you could be around thousands of people and still be lonely because you don't have a Silas. And you know what? Loneliness leads to all kinds of, you know, just depression and drugs and, you know, seeking out of other friends. Be careful that you don't get a Silas and a Barnabas mixed up, because a Barnabas is supposed to be your leader, not your Silas. And don't be getting mad at your youth pastor because he doesn't want to be your Silas. Not supposed to be. What you really need for that person to do is to mentor you and to speak life into you and give the word of God to you. But you need a Silas on the same level to push you and push each other and grow. So everybody's got to have a Barnabas. Everybody's got to have a Silas, at least one. And finally, everybody's got to have a Timothy. Let me hear you say Timothy. Now, Timothy was younger. And Paul, I found him when he was probably 16 or 17, gave his heart to the Lord. Check this out. The book of 1 Timothy and 2 Timothy, Paul wrote to Timothy. And Timothy at this point was about 19 years old, and he was an overseer. He was overseeing churches. That means he wasn't just a pastor. He was overseeing a bunch of other pastors. How cool is that? And Paul was his mentor. He poured into Timothy, poured life into him, taught him. Everybody in this room needs a Timothy. What are you talking about? Yeah, you need somebody that isn't as far in Christ as you are, that you can pour into, that you can help grow. This might be the junior high kids at your church. It might be Big Brother, Big Sister program in your community, your neighborhood. Everybody needs somebody to pour into. See, one of the biggest challenges in Christianity is this. Our Christianity dies. You know why? If we come to an event like this, yes, we're all on fire because we're receiving life from God. But you know, it's a lot like in Israel, there's this big lake called the Dead Sea. And the Dead Sea is this giant lake. It's not really the ocean, but it's salt water. This is why. It has the river, the Jordan River that runs into it from the north, but there's no river that runs out of it. It just keeps capturing water and then it evaporates. And they call it the Dead Sea because nothing can grow in it. There's no fish, there's no plant life, nothing. Because every other lake in the world has a river that runs in and a river that runs out. And so there's fresh water that comes in and there's fresh water that comes out. And there's life on the inside. There's fish and there's plant life. And a lot of us become like the Dead Sea. We go, yes, Jesus, I love you. And we just keep getting poured into and 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 poured into. And you weren't designed only to receive. You were designed to give, to have something poured out of you, to touch another person's life. And some of us are thinking, but I tried to keep my fire for God. What happened? I went to church and I read books, and that's good. You're getting poured into. But you've got to have an outlet where you're pouring into somebody else's life. There are hurting people around you in your community. There are single mothers who need a big brother or a big sister for their small children or for their young teenagers. And you can be that person. Be careful that you don't mistake a Timothy for a Silas. Watch this. So you love God, and there's some guy at school, some girl who, they're cool and everything, and they maybe just gave their life to Jesus. And you're going, cool, where's Silas? No, if they just gave their life to Jesus, they can't be Silas with you unless you just gave your life to Jesus. See, they might actually be the same age, but they might be younger in Christ. And so don't treat them like a Silas, because then they can end up influencing you. You've got to realize, you don't have to say, hey, you were Timothy to me. You don't have to say that. But just realize in your heart, don't get connected like a Silas. You're like, okay, this person's a Timothy. I'm going to pour into them. I'm going to help them to grow. And be careful that you don't get caught, because they might be popular, caught in that trap of, well, I think they're sort of like a Silas because they're as cool as I am. Forget that has nothing to do with it. They got to be a Timothy to you. And so everybody's got to have a Timothy. Wouldn't it be great if every one of us left here this week and found a Timothy, found someone we could pour into? Barnabas. Listen, you might be thinking, but I'm not smart enough. Yeah, you're smarter than a lot of people. You're closer to God than others, and you just find somebody who's hurting, who needs somebody to, I'm telling you, there's no generation of young people that need a big brother, big sister, somebody that they can be received from, and they can be a Barnabas to them. Let me tell you about somebody like this. Precious young lady named Amanda. Amanda Todd, you may have heard about Amanda. Last fall, a tragedy befell her. It actually started several years ago when she was 13. Amanda was online on some video chat room, and she got challenged. Flash yourself. She wouldn't do it, and finally she did it, and the guy that was in the video chat room took a picture, and then he began to threaten her. If you don't do this or that, I'm gonna put this picture all over the place, and she wouldn't do it. She realized she made a mistake. Well, he put the picture everywhere. People at her school found out about it, started mocking her, making fun of her, taunting her. She moved to another school because her parents were divorced. She moved to the other parent. The guy followed her online and did the same thing again. That school found out about it, started mocking her, making fun of her, making her feel like a loser. She actually got approached by a guy in this new school who said, hey, you're beautiful, whatever. She gave away her purity. Came to find out the next week that he actually had a girlfriend, and that girlfriend got mad at her and actually beat her up with a bunch of other girls. She tried to end her life. Her father found her in a ditch, took her to the hospital. She survived, went to another school, same thing happened, another school, the same thing happened. Finally, last October, Amanda Todd couldn't take it anymore. And she put this video online that tells the whole story through words. And then she ended her own life. There's another story of a girl, the same, almost exact same story that happened this week. And the reason I share the stories with you is what if the Christians in Amanda's school would have rallied around her? When she's sitting alone at lunch, what if the Christians would have come up to her and put their arms around her and said, listen, we don't care what people are saying about you. We love you. We care about you. There's redemption. There's forgiveness. I'm telling you, there are Amanda Todds at every one of your schools. People that everybody else looks down upon. That nobody wants to be affiliated with. Well, that's what Jesus did, right? He was with the prostitutes and the sinners, and everybody mocked him too. And he said, I don't care what you think of me. This is why I came for these people that are hurting. I'm asking you today, go find Timothy. I'm pleading with you. There are Amandas all over this region. What if we were the ones, we were like the ones taking the gauze and the bandages to those that are broken and hurting. Those that are mocked and belittled, made fun of. I'm asking you to find a Timothy for your own sake and for their sake. Everybody needs a Barnabas. Everybody needs Silas at least once. Everybody needs a Timothy. If you get that balance of friendships in your life, that balance of relationship, you will last all through your teenage years, through your college years, through your adult years. Keep a Barnabas and a Silas and Timothy's in your life. And your fire will never go out. And you will always have the life of God burning in you. You get life coming in and life going out. As the life goes through you, there's enough for you. Father, I just thank you for my brothers and my sisters here. Father, I thank you that this is not some recipe we can't figure out. It's not some big mystery. How do we keep our fire for you? You